Hello and welcome. That was perfectly timed. She, who I can't mention her name, just told me that someone's at the front door just as the music was finishing. So big welcome, everybody. Lovely to have you here. And if you're catching this in the replay as well, we're very much recording it for that. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be a great resource for you. Ecamm Live 101. In fairness, Rach said to me, what does 101 mean? And again, maybe it's a bit of that jargon that we tend to use, but to me, it is like your first lesson, your first class in Ecamm Live. Now, I came live last week and did a session on what is Ecamm Live, really answering that question. If you've never heard of Ecamm before, or you've heard people recommending it and don't really know what it's about, I'm going to point you back to that video. Check that back. If you look back on our channel and just look for the previous live that we did, you'll see there's one there called What is Ecamm Live? So we're not going to be going over that. I'm assuming that you know what Ecamm Live is if you're here. But really, I wanted to do, originally we were looking, do we do this as a challenge? Do we do this over a week? And I thought, actually, I'd really just like to do it masterclass style. Let's get into this. So really everything from the ground up. And what I'm going to be doing with you today is starting up here. We're going to work through this. This is the list that I'm running through today. So we're going to be doing tips for your desktop layout. Val actually has been someone who's been really saying to me, oh, you need to show us how we organize the desktop and get it tidy. Well, we're not going to get quite onto that. I still want to keep this in that 101 level, really. Yeah, how we do this, different sizes and things of desktops. The overview of the dashboard, I really want to just walk around this and show you everything that's there on the dashboard, all the tabs and things. We're going to walk you through the preferences. I've actually got a document that I haven't linked up yet because I only thought about it at the last minute, but I will make that available in the comments so you can download and walk through like a check sheet for all the preferences. We're going to build out some scenes. That's what Ecamm's all about. We're actually going to go live inside a live, and then we're going to talk about taking Ecamm into Zoom as well. So I think that's really covering everything that we need to do to get ourselves going with Ecamm, but I'm not going to be getting into advanced things. I really want to keep this in the context of this 101 kind of beginner level. I don't want people going, what on earth? That's just blown my mind. I'm totally lost. We're not going to do that. And again, if you want to watch this back in the replay, the good thing about YouTube is you can actually slow it down a bit if you want to, or skip through. I'm going to put chapters in there to all of this. So hopefully a good little resource that you can come back to and also point other people to. So there we go. That's what we're going to be doing. Tommy's old dog learning new tricks. Come on. With a new Ecamm version. Yeah, I'm not sure, Tommy. Nothing's changing that's going to adjust any of this. Yeah, we'll have a look. I mean, that always happens, Tommy. We'll look at this now anyway, so it's a good question. But in terms of what you'll find is when you close Ecamm and open it up again, it'll always come back to the same defaults. It always looks the same as what you left it. So yes, there we go. Beat you, Ecamm. I've just seen in the comments, just coming back on here saying, yeah, no changes. Right, okay, I'm going to get into this and we're going to jump in. We will stop. So I'm running through these points, as I say. The first one really is looking at the desktop. And to make it nice and easy, I've actually plugged into here Rachel's laptop. So she just realized, hang on a minute, I'm not going to be able to get into the chat and put comments and things in, but we're all good. I can handle that. And we've got Val and Paul in here as well. They'll keep an eye on you all. So I'm going to run through these sections. We'll come to some questions, to some Q&A in between them, and we'll work our way through. And I'm kind of expecting this might be 90 minutes, at least an hour going through this. So stay with me if you can. As I say, if you do need to break away, we'll make sure this is, it'll instantly be a replay on YouTube, and we'll slice it up and make it nice and easy for you. So let me Now this is where it gets confusing when I'm trying to work two. I've got a mouse over here for this computer, and then I'm working this one at the side of me that is what we're going to be using to look at. So we all know there's going to be some glitches. Right. So what am I doing? We're going to show you through this desktop first of all. So if I come over to here, this is showing you, and I haven't done a picture-in-picture because I'm conscious you're seeing me underneath it anyway. So this is a fairly fresh install of Ecamm. Now I do want to just point out, I'm using the beta version. You can see down at the bottom there that I'm using the beta version of this, really because I don't know, I'm assuming that fairly quickly what the new features that we've got here in beta will be available in the main version. Certainly if you're watching this in the replay, it's very likely that the things we're showing you on here will be part of the main one. If you haven't got beta already, I'm sure someone can pop into the chat here, please, the link to beta, just so that you can head over to ecamm.com/beta. You can download, it's totally free of charge. It's very stable, but it means that you're just getting early access to some of the cool features that we're going to be showing you now. So yeah, just a little explanation why, if you notice at the bottom, that I've got this on beta. So let's have a look at this layout first of all. So this is Rachel's MacBook Air, what is it, 12 inch, 13 inch? I'm not quite sure what the Air is. But it's all quite tight in here, and this might be what it looks like for you when you open up Ecamm, and it can look and feel a little bit overwhelming. So what I want to just say to you is really, this is your main window, and you can grab at the corner of it, and you can make the thing bigger, and you can take it back. That'll be your minimum size it goes to. All of these are tabs that are around the side that I'm going to walk you through in a minute and show you what all of them do and why you would use them. But you might not need to have all of these open. And so I'm just going to demonstrate. If I close these down for now, the ones that we don't need, and all of a sudden it's looking much nicer and simpler. I can actually adjust as well on these, the size of them. So maybe that would be, I always like to keep up here this sound levels one. I think it's really important. Like now you can just see that there's some green going along there, and I can actually see that there's something coming through from the microphone. If by accident, we all do it, this is muted like this, it's a very clear visual for me to see that and see that it's not actually in. So that seems to be okay. Just conscious this is glitching a bit, which is probably to do with the HDMI connection, but I don't want to pull it out and change it now. So bear with me, I'm afraid, if that's just glitching a little bit as it's going. Right, so we've got Ecamm here. So what can we do with the, what can you do with the resolution on here? It might be that if you're on a small laptop like this, one of the things you could do is you can actually change the resolution of your screen. Which I'm just trying to find, display. So if I go display settings, and the built-in screen there. If I said scaled, what I can actually do is say smaller text on there, and all of a sudden, you see how that desktop has got much smaller. If I increase the size, I see less on there. So I can actually, in effect, create some more space by just scaling this down. So I'm just going to do that anyway. The other thing you might want to do is consider looking at getting an extra monitor. You know, maybe you can stick it, if you're working on a laptop like this, to attach another monitor and give yourself some space. Certainly if you want to go from Ecamm into Zoom and you've got a PowerPoint presentation and things, quite quickly you're going to run out of desk space. So we've minimized it by closing off things we don't need. We can also do, there are things, and I don't want to cover this today, but there are things like a Stream Deck that allow you to have buttons allocated to it, which means actually once I've prepared a presentation, I can actually close off most of these tabs around Ecamm's windows, because everything that I want to do, I've allocated to a button. So when I want to change a scene or bring an overlay on or something, I can put it on a button and I don't need to have these tabs open, which again means I can minimize what's going on here. Another thing where we'll that we'll get into a bit later if you are bringing on a presentation, because that suddenly takes up more space. You know, if I want to be able to have a keynote presentation, for instance, well, that now has just taken up a whole load more space on the desktop here. And now I'm competing really as to which is going to go where to be able to get everything on the screen. Now, another little tip for this would be that you could connect potentially an iPad or an external device like I'm doing right here and feed a presentation in that way. So there are some options. If this is an issue for you, reach out, let me know now, or reach out into the Ecamm community group. People, it is such an awesome group over there. You'll get a lot of people coming back with ideas and suggestions, but that's just some simple ones first, just to tidy this up. I'm a big fan and believer in trying to keep this as minimal and simple as possible, so you haven't got a lot of distractions. You're not fighting away going, where's my window gone? I can't see it anymore. So yeah, just tidying that up, I think, makes a big difference. One of the other things you can do is down here as well is set your dock to be hiding. So all of a sudden, again, you've just gained a bit more space by doing that. And all that means is that when you go down here, they will pop up again and it disappears when you pull the cursor away. So there we go. There's a few tips on the layout. Just having a quick nose there. Great. Awesome. Right, we're going to keep moving on. There's nothing really in there as a question or anything about that. And fair enough, we're just setting the scene with it, really. So I'm going to have an overview of this dashboard. We're going to walk through this. I'm actually going to make this main window a little bit bigger now for the purposes of us having a walk around. And you'll see that I'm just bringing on different... I'm not used to using this trackpad. So I love that Ecamm have introduced this as well now, that you get this some support on here straight away. Let's get going. How will you be using Ecamm Live? Do you want to stream, record, or present? And there's some tips to get you started in each of those. So we're going to come into this, and I just want to walk you around what is here on the dashboard. We're going to come over in a few minutes to actually building out some scenes and things. So you're going to find me saying we'll come back to that in a few minutes. So don't worry, I genuinely am. But we start up here at this top left corner. All right, so this is our main Ecamm window. You choose what tabs you want on there. I'm looking up here. I should be looking down here, shouldn't I? You choose what tabs and things you want here. You can, as you've seen, hide them, close them, move them around wherever you want. So it says to me at the top here, the first thing I've got up on this window, and you'll find that these are really shortcuts to the main features that you want. This overlay down here for your cameras moves around as well. You can turn it off altogether. You've also got along the top here a whole ton of menu options along here as well for different things. All right, so you can access almost everything from at the top here. We just find that there's the easier ones, that the most important ones are right down here. Sorry I got this light right behind me. Obviously I wouldn't normally be doing this. It's just because I'm demonstrating with this laptop. So right at the top, default scene. Now if I didn't have this scenes tab open, I could click on here and it would say show scenes window. What you're going to see in a minute is that everything keep looking up there, everything we're doing here in Ecamm is built on scenes. So don't worry if you don't understand what scenes are. We're going to come to that one in just a few minutes. And just know that that's how you access the scenes at this top corner. Now, this is new in version 4 that came in at the back end of last year. You get the option up here to choose whether you want to stream, record, or use the virtual camera. We're going to use the virtual camera a bit later on, and we use that to go out to Zoom or any of these other destinations that allow us to send all the cool things we're going to do here in Ecamm out to those other places. All right, so I'm going to turn that one on. It's going to say to me that I need to update this for the virtual cam and update the virtual mic. So accept all those. Okay. I wanted you to see a complete kind of install from the start. So they've been installed now. Finally. So what this means is we're deciding up at this point here, are we actually doing a live stream, or are we going to be doing, are we just recording only? So like now, so this is where it's a little bit trippy. So, and it's probably a delay. Don't panic if there's a delay in the audio. It's because I'm feeding this laptop screen into here. So right now we are streaming onto YouTube. And so we would need to have this ticked, and then down here you'll see in a bit where this is where I actually choose where we're going for a destination. If I just wanted to, I don't actually want to go live, I just want to be able to record a tutorial, then this is what I do. And notice that when I turn stream off, that at the bottom now it just gives me an option to record only. Maybe you want to record a video, a little message you want to put out. We can actually change, as you're going to see in a minute, the format of this. So maybe it's for a vertical video. And this bottom one is the virtual cam, that all it does is gives us the ability, and I tend to leave this on all the time, it doesn't hurt. It gives us the ability, if I suddenly open up Zoom, I'm going to see Ecamm virtual camera, Ecamm virtual mic, and then everything that's here will appear over there in Zoom. All right, so you need to know this, because if you're looking down here at record and you're going, I'm supposed to be going live and I can't see where I go live, it's because you need to turn it on up here and you need to be on stream. Okay, then the next one across, we've got up here, this is choosing what is this main, what's coming through on this scene. So at the minute there's a camera, there could be a screen share if I went over to this one. Don't worry about that for now. Or if there was a video that I'd got queued up, then I could play that there. So again, it's a quick access to be able to get into here and decide what is happening in this scene. Now what you're going to see is that I don't tend to use that, to be honest, because I'm choosing very much my scenes and I'm building them up one by one. And you'll see when we build this out. All right, come across the top, it will tell you up here if you're on a pro license or not. Some good benefits for being on a pro license. To be able to send out to this virtual camera, to be able to go out to Zoom and places, to be able to record in 4K, interview, to be able to do interviews on here. So you'll see that there's a lot of benefits for going onto the pro license. Again, if someone's able just to put a link in there, maybe to the pricing page, and you'll be able to see what options you've got there. Now we come down this right side. This is where the main tabs are that you need to have access to. The top one up here, again, is a fairly new one. So some of you old dogs that haven't been in here for a while might not have seen this. So this is your camera switcher. And what you can do in here, I can adjust as well the size of these. I can have, so this is here on Rachel's laptop, the only thing we've got is the FaceTime camera. If I'd got multiple cameras, I will see them down here. It can be, for some of you, that's one of the requests that came in, a year or two back, or has been for a while, was we'd love to be able to see the thumbnails bigger. Instead of up here, we used to just have these little overlays for letting us see how big the camera options are. Well, now we've got this, and I can either change the size of this on here, or what I can actually do is pop this out. So if I say show it in a separate window, I can now really set up, and for those of you that have got multiple monitors, you can actually have these set up, push that over to a different monitor, and you can have a really big feed. Maybe you're at a church or a conference setup and you've got multiple cameras and you want to know which to switch to. That can be really useful. One of the other great features in this is this AB camera. If you'll see later, we were creating multiple scenes. What this is really allowing us, and you've got different cameras that you're connecting in, this really allows you to put a placeholder and say, right, in this, so when I was setting this up, for example, on my computer, and I knew I was going to be bringing in the laptop as a camera source, I was able to set it up and say, right, camera B is over there. Camera A is my main camera, and it meant that I can set it up in advance, and then when I attach this laptop in, all I do under camera B is select the laptop, and instantly it will put them in and select. It allows me to design it up front. So it is a great feature. If you're only planning on really starting out and keeping this simple with one camera, then this isn't going to be a big deal to you. You could actually minimize that and leave it off. Now, one of your main overlays will be the overlays tab, and we'll be seeing that when we set this up. But everything you want to bring on camera, so whether that's bullet points, whether you want to do like I'm doing at the minute, this is an overlay that you're seeing that is sitting on that screen. The words demo are a text overlay that's sitting down the side. So we select our scene first of all, and then we build it up by adding different overlays on there. And we will see that in a few moments. The next one down is the sound levels. This is the one that I said, really, I definitely recommend you keep this on. If there were any echo, if there were any funny noises coming through, you'd be able to see it on here, because when I stop talking, that should go flat on there and no sound. If there's a aircon unit or something going, you'll notice that when you're silent, there's a little bit of still some green on there. So it's a fantastic indicator just to keep on all the time. The next one is camera effects. And you've got a large menu, set of options here on this tab. You can pull it right down and view them, or you can put it up like this, and then you can just scroll. So you can select which camera you want to be working with, and we can do green screen and things. Again, not coming on to that today. We can zoom in a bit if we want to. If I decide that actually, I haven't actually got this one on, have I? There we go. If I want to actually zoom this in on this camera, I can do it, and I can position it as well. This is very good when you've got guests and maybe they're set looking a bit smaller than what you are on your side. There's a lot of basic functions in here about changing the brightness, temperature, tint, saturation. We can mirror the screen, do black and white, we can rotate it. So lots of different things that you can do there to your camera effects, and you can choose if you've got multiple cameras available or your guests that are on this scene, you can change them in here. But typically you don't necessarily need to have this open all the time, so that creates a bit of space by shutting that off. If you want to use sound effects, then you've got a tab for those, and they can just be dragged in. Comments we can have, and that can sit up at the side here. And so when you're on a live and comments are coming through, you can see them coming in at the side here. This is a great feature that means if maybe you're going live to YouTube, you don't have to have YouTube open on another window, because all the comments are going to come into here, and you can select the comments and bring them in as well at any point. I'm really sorry about this glitching. It wasn't doing it before, but I'm catching it out the corner of my eye over there, and it's annoying me, so I do apologize. Again, comments, if you were just recording and not streaming, you can turn the comments off. Guests, if we have here on the interview, we can, this is if you were doing interviews, your guests will appear in this section here, and they will come down the side, one on top of the other, and then you can select to bring them on screen. And yeah, so this is the area where you are working with your interviews. And then we've got preferences, and we're going to walk through that in just a few minutes. But when I click here, all of these preferences come on screen. So down the bottom here will change depending on, as I say, if we're not in stream, then that menu is gone. If we are streaming, then this is now the way we access and get going doing our live stream. So it's asking me here, first of all, to connect up to, I can go to Facebook, YouTube, X, which is Twitter, the old Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, Amazon Live, Instagram Live. If you've got it, they're kind of rolling this out. Some people are getting it, others are having to wait. And or RTMP if you want to go to another destination that, you know, what am I thinking of? Sometimes some of these course platforms and things will allow you to send to an RTMP address. All right, so this is where we set up our destinations. And once you've got a destination in, we're going to be able to see that we can go live from down there. We are going to go live, so I'm going to cover that bit when we get to it. The only other thing to say is down in this bottom left corner, you've got preview mode. Handle with care is all I would say, preview mode. The idea is that so I'm now in preview mode, and down here is the live feed that's going out, which means I could be playing out around up here, and I could bring in, and let's just very quickly, I could drop a text overlay on here and be working away on this, and notice that it isn't coming out there on the bottom one. So it gives you a chance, if you wanted, to be able to work on one scene, and then suddenly when I say publish it, we're now all of a sudden that's the live scene that's just going on down here. Now it is nice in that it can give you a little extra window, and I'm actually using it at the minute up on my teleprompter. I've got my program window up there, my preview window. I would say keep it off and don't go near it, certainly at a kind of 101 beginning level. Okay. You'll notice that you've got this overlay on here. This is for you to click between your cameras that you've got attached. You can actually get rid of this if you want. So in the, where are we? No, it's not in there. It's in the preferences. We'll come to that in a minute. You can actually turn this off if you don't want to have it on there. Now, I think that's it for just a quick navigation around here. Let's cancel that and get rid of it. Does that help? Have we got questions on here? I can see some questions. Right, I'm going to come back to this one. I'm very tempted to unplug this and try it in another port, but I'm just a little bit scared that it might not find it. Are we all right sticking with it? So Michael says, yeah, great question. This is quite a big issue. How do we ensure that comments display the name of the viewer instead of YouTube user, Facebook user? Michael, one of the reasons that is, or the reason that is happening, it tends to be Facebook, not YouTube. If someone's logged in on YouTube, then, well, they need to be logged in with a Google account for them to be able to comment on YouTube anyway. So you shouldn't get the issue on YouTube. Facebook, it's a Facebook issue, unfortunately. And Doc was talking about this the other day on a live, very frustrating, that it's to do with permissions. Now, if you're the owner, the admin of a group, you need, folk that are in the group need to give permission to Ecamm to be able to see the comment. And there is, I can't remember what it's ecamm.com. I saw Doc was just using a little a shortened link there that he's able to put in. You need to ask people to just click on this link. Is that Paul? You're already answering Michael there. Do you know what that short link is that Doc was using? Is that it was ecammlive.com / I don't know what it was, reveal or something like that. But yeah, you need to ask people to just click that link. It then says to Facebook that they've given permissions for Ecamm to see their name and their image, and that should have you sorted. It tends to be in groups. It shouldn't be an issue on pages. Yeah. Okay. Right. So how are we doing? We've had a very quick kind of fly around the dashboard. More than I want you to see where things are. So when we're talking, as I'm building out scenes, I want you to know that, oh yeah, I got to the scenes window up here. When we're talking about overlays, you know that the overlays, you reach from here. The preferences, you're going to reach from here. We're going to do those in just a minute. Okay, so most of the stuff is there down that right side. If it isn't, then work your way along the top. It's pretty logical, really, in terms of, if we're talking about cameras or mics or overlays, it's laid out like that. So hopefully that's fairly straightforward in its explanation. So let's have a look at the preferences. So we pull this up. And I think it's important these are the sort of things that you're going to set once really and forget. So if I pull this up onto here, we work our way along these tabs here. So play app sound. So when people comment when they're arriving or when they're kind of giving you hearts or thumbs and things like this, it'll play a little sound effect for that. I would say keep it off because it's going to come through on your live. I remember a customer that had got this going and didn't understand what this noise was that was going on in the background all the time. And it's because he'd just had this turned on. Animated reactions. So I can see over in here that there was a few people just put a thumb up. That's the animated reactions. Leave that one on. Here's show the camera switcher in the main window. This is what I was just talking about. So this is your camera switcher. And I can choose to turn that off if I want, and notice, look, it's gone now. So I would leave it on unless it's really annoying you. Show program window while in other apps. So leave that one on. It just means that as I said, I've got a little program. We just showed it in the preview mode. If you've got that little window open, it'll show it when you're in other apps that are taking priority. I would keep off this keep utility window in front when live. And again, I'm not going to mention everyone here, but you can see here, you can come back through this on the replay and you can just see actually what settings we've got turned on and what's not. So automatically hide the comment overlays after 15 seconds. So notice that I was bringing those comments up at the bottom of the screen just a few minutes ago, you can set this so that it comes on automatically and you don't have to click it to make it go away afterwards. So that's a good one to turn on. Then in the account, that's just showing you for managing your account if you need. The stream, we can adjust in here how big we want this stream to be when we're going out. Most people typically will just stay here on 1080p. You can go bigger if your camera can cope with it. You could do 4K and you can actually go out to YouTube on 4K. Most of the destinations, really 1080 would be all that we would suggest on there. Then the stream shape. Now I'm pulling it down because I want you to see this one. So some of you might not appreciate this. You can actually change the shape of this. So if you want to, for instance, record a square video, doesn't mean it's going to come out with the black bars at the side. If I click record now, the video that comes out will be a square video. So that could be really good if you were wanting to do like record a Facebook ad or something. You might want to be able to do tool in here. Okay, so if I were to do this now, and let's just very quickly show you, if I said record, you can see at the top that it's telling me that it's recording, and then I can hit finish, end recording. Ecamm says to me, show file, and when I click on that, record, you can see that it's come out in that format. So really nice, really powerful. You can actually so this is where you come into here to change this under stream shape. Typically 16:9 is what we would have here on YouTube. Now your frame rate, depending on where you live in the world, you would either be 25 or 30. If you wanted, you'll notice that there's a slight bit of blur in here at 25. If I go up to 50, it becomes much sharper between that. Personally, I like 25. I leave mine set to 25. I like that effect. Now, let me just show you here, because I do have actually, this is a little map here. It all depends on where you are in the world as whether you choose 25 or 50 or 25 or 30. So if you're in that blue zone or the orange, then you're going to be choosing either 25 or 50. If you're NTSC, which is the green zone, then you're going to be choosing 30 or 60 as your frame rate. Okay? So again, come back to that one if you want to a bit later. But that's where we're setting that then. So these are really set and forget. We don't need to be particularly changing this unless you want to come in and change that stream shape. I would turn on the high quality and high quality audio as well. Now this is a great little addition that came in the version 4, that it actually tells me on here that how much internet I need, how much bandwidth I need. So, you know, when you're not sure whether you can go live to different destinations or even what kind of internet speed you can get, you've got a speed test built into Ecamm here, and it's already done a test for me, and it told me this is on the Wi-Fi here, 24 megs. So it's telling me that if I want to go live to one destination, it's going to take about 5 megabytes. And so I've got 24, so it's given me a green tick. If I wanted to go out to a lot of destinations here, look at this, it's gone, oh, that's going to take 44 megs. You've only got 24, so it gives me a warning there. If you're in an area with a slower internet speed, then again, so if you'd only got 4 and it's saying here it's going to take 5, then we need to drop this down. And one way you could do that would be to change this down. Look what happens when I take this to 720. It now tells me I only need 3 megs to do this. So again, this is, I was going to say potentially a little bit more advanced, but I want you to see this because it's in here and it's a great tool that's built in now. All right, then we come over to recording. Now, one of the great things we can do with this, if you've got multiple cameras, you can actually now record isolated video tracks, which just means that, let me come back to this one for a second. If, like I'm here at the minute and I were to bring up a chat like this, or I come back to this one, I've got some branding down here. Maybe in the end recording, I don't want to have these bits in here and I'd really like just to have the clean camera feed coming through. Well, that's what this is giving me. So it's saying I can have this isolated video track for me if I'd got multiple cameras. So at the minute, the laptop is considered to be another camera attached to this. So I'm going to get out of here. You can see on there, if I go into this live demo mode, you can see in my camera switcher that it's showing that my laptop there is another camera and then this is one camera. So that means at the end of this, Ecamm's going to say to me, is going to give me a folder that says, here's the mix and here's your first camera and here's the laptop. So that if I wanted to edit this afterwards, I get those clean feeds coming through from there. I think that's a fantastic feature. We can also do the same with the audio. So if you were, and let's not skip over that, interview guests. So if I were doing an interview and I'd got guests on, the same thing, it will give me a nice clean feed from me and from the guest that if I was editing it afterwards and wanted to change that mix, I could do. And the same thing happens with audio for me and a guest, or however many guests I've got attached. I'm going to get a set of files back at the end from all of those individual recordings and the mix that went out on the live. So some really powerful features in here. If, as I say, we're just getting started and you've only got one camera feed going through, you may not need these things in here at the minute. I just leave that as MOV. If when you're doing a record only, you can turn this on and have a countdown. So instead of me clicking record and it just instantly recording, it'll give me a 3-second countdown on there. And I can choose where the recording destination is. By default, it'll stick it in there in your movies as an Ecamm live recordings. But if you want it somewhere else, you can. Destinations is where we add our destinations in. We're coming back to this one. Video settings, default source. So I can choose when I open a new scene, do I want it to be set to camera? Yes. Default transitions. So you'll see that when we move between scenes, we can do these different transitions like you would do in a PowerPoint presentation. And as you change scenes, you can make it do something. A nice little cross dissolve works well. Fade out when finished. So when I end this live, do I want it to just fade down? When I add a video file in, it will auto play. Picture in picture. I don't want that. I turn that off because we come at it a different way now. And I turn it off here as well. All right, and I've turned up, or on my main computer, I turn off the FaceTime camera. I don't want that to work, but in here, I won't have a camera if I turn that off. Audio, speakers, tend to leave that on system default. Echo cancellation. Again, I don't want to, we can come back to these ones if people want to. Ask me the questions if you want. Same if you're watching it in the replay, and I'll come back and I can record you a little something extra. Echo cancellation is there if you're on an interview, really, and there's potentially your mic is picking up other things. All right, so I've got it on here to automatically mute the mic and a guest audio during video playback. So if we were doing an intro or playing a video, then it automatically cuts my mic off, it mutes it and any guest as well. All right, so I'm going to leave those ones for now. Interview, there's some features on here. Again, there's more to go into that with interviewing. I feel like that's definitely not just 101. So I'm going to leave those as they are for now. Screen sharing. We can actually choose when sharing the screen. If I've got a lot of icons on the screen here, like this Ecamm folder, I can click this, and when I'm doing a screen share, you won't see it, and you won't see the background as well if I choose include desktop backup. So maybe if you've got a background image on there of a family photo in the background and you don't want that to be seen, you could click it and it'll go away. All right, so again, increasing the mouse cursors when you're doing a screen share. If you don't want it, you can turn it off. If you do, or you can make it really big. That becomes very good when you're demonstrating and sharing on your screen. All right, shortcuts, don't worry about that. Don't worry about remote control. So there's my very quick fly through the preferences. How are we doing? Oh, thank you, Val. Yes, really good point. You do need to be on one of the M1 or M2 Silicon Macs to be able to record that isolated video. I really encourage people actually that I think certainly Mac Minis have become very affordable, and it's a huge step for you to jump up. Notice that this isn't on a 15-second delay. Let me just change that because it will save me having to keep coming to it. Automatically hide after 15 seconds. Yeah, it is definitely worth if you're getting serious and doing lives. Certainly if you're going out to Zoom and things as well. It really would pay for you to upgrade and get at least an M1 or an M2 now. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits for that. Let's just have a quick look. So I'm going to come to the comments over here. Let's just see. Michael didn't know I had 158 meg at your disposal to upload. So I can do 10 destinations on 4K 30 frames. Currently use Switchboard for multiple streams. Yeah. So yeah, the difference if you were to go out to something like Restream that could handle multiple destinations, that's going to take a lot of load off of your computer. If that's an issue, if you plan to go out to 10 destinations, not many people would want that. But if you seriously need to be able to go to 10 destinations, you either need a very fast. I mean, we here have got a hardwired connection, a gigabit connection, so I'm getting 700-800 upload all the time. Not an issue for me. Or I could go to 10 destinations. I couldn't from this laptop on Wi-Fi. That would be the only, if this were a serious thing and you were trying to get to multiple destinations from something like this laptop, you could just send up to one destination to somewhere like Restream, and then Restream could send it out. Obviously, that means you're paying for 2 subscriptions, but yeah, just throwing that in as another little note for you. Yep. Okay. Covered all those. Amazing. Where are we up to? Walk through preferences. We're going to build out some scenes. We're going to get fun now. So I'm going to come back to this one because I want to really sort of show you from scratch how I'm doing this. So come back on to Rachel's laptop and we're going to build some scenes out. And, this will be interesting for some of you as well, because maybe you don't actually do this at the minute and you tend to just have everything in here and you're fumbling around trying to find text overlays and making them come on and off. What I tend to do is anytime there's I want to change something on the screen, I will create a new scene. So I'm just going to come back to this one actually for a second and show you it over here. So if I go into my live demo mode over here, you'll see at the top here that I've got that intro scene that played some music for us. Let me just show you that. All right, I can set this to play that for a set amount of time, automatically come on to my next scene. Now I've created over here for this live, this is my Ecamm 101. So because front I want anyway, that's just front camera. I've created over here a couple of extra scenes. So when I brought on when I think, right now I want to just bring some bullet points on screen, I could allocate that to an overlay and it would happen in here. Two reasons. I've created a new scene for it. So it's set on here that when I press to go to a new scene, this overlay comes in from the side. It's also one of the benefits of doing this is it allows me on this scene only to blur this camera. And I like that effect. Where's my cursor gone? Then when we've been coming over here and I'm showing you Rachel's laptop, you can see that I've created another scene for that. And then when I come to the comments, I've created another scene for that. All right. And then, so I got a whole load of different ones down here. When we did the beta 4.1, I'd got a few extra ones there. I've got some timers in here that I've showed people how, maybe you're getting someone to come on and we're going to go around the room kind of thing on a Zoom call. You've each got 10 minutes and then I can put a timer up on there. And then at the end of it, it comes to a scene and says time's up. So all kinds of fun things that we can do with that. And we're using it, I'm saying this to just explain that we're creating scenes for all of these things. So back over here. So I'm just quick couple of things there. Would it make any difference between the M2 Max Studio Max or the Ultra? I really don't know, George. I think you don't need to be doing that. And I don't know that you would really see the differences and the benefits in that, if I'm honest. Did we raise the course as the Jason? I think if you're talking about the Ecamm Academy, no, we haven't done. Right. Okay. Let's come back on. What are we doing? Scenes. I've actually got a list up here. I need you to see, but to try and keep me going, I've got a list of scenes that we were going to do. So, did you like that little intro that we did at the start of here? If I just come back over here and show you this, I know we're, oops, and we're still on live demo. I know we're in 101, but I kind of see this as building out some scenes and things here that will set you up and you'll be able to use these. So when I So we've got a few things in there. We can absolutely build one of those out in here and it won't take us too long. So here we go. We're back on here. This was one of the reasons I wanted to be showing you beta. So we're going to call this, the first thing we do is we need to name our scene. So right at the top, instead of default scene, we're going to call this intro. And I think it's just a nice way to let people, I think 1 minute it works nicely. It just lets people know that you're coming on. You could actually do this at the start of your Zoom call as well if you wanted to, or maybe in a Zoom meeting, it's running on and you want to be able to have a point to be able to break away to, then this would work well for that. So let me just quickly show you. Let's try and do this as easily as we can. Down here at the bottom, where everything's coming in as overlays. So down here, when I click this bottom right, it says that I can bring in a shape overlay. And we've got these little pop-ups on here to guide us. When I click the pencil symbol, I can now choose what I want this background to be. I'm going to stick with rectangle. I'm going to pick a color. Let's go for a slightly darker color like this. And all we're going to do for now is that's going to be our, actually, no, sorry. What I should have done is on the color, we could adjust this opacity. So I'm going to take that down to about there. See what I've just done? 67% opacity. And I can push it off the edge up there. It doesn't really matter that the edges are rounded. I didn't think. I'll tell you what, I will take it off because I can see a bit of a rounded corner down on that edge there, right? So I'm just doing that to get straight edges. And now that means that we've just created this rectangle overlay over the top of this. So that's what you saw. There was some color overlay there. We can also, in this scene, go into camera effects. and I can come down here to blur effect, and look how I can blur that background out. Okay, it just makes any text that we're going to put over the front of this stand out. I can come off my camera effects now, and then I could bring in a text that says, starting in. Now I'm going to keep this very simple. I'm going to let you come back to this and tweak this if you want. One of the things you can do is adjust. So I don't want a background to this. These are all new features that are in this beta that hopefully will be coming very soon to the main Ecamm. I could increase the size of that if I want. So it lets me snap on there to say that that's in the center. And I could then bring in a timer overlay. So we want this to be 1 minute. And we're going to say, go to next scene when finished. So I click on that. Again, very basic. You can play with styling with this up. You've got so many options with adjusting styles and things. So here we go. I will just show you. When it says edit text, look, you've got all of the fonts in here. Any fonts that you've got on your computer will be in here. And you can adjust them around. You can adjust the size of them. You've got this now kerning, which means the spacing in between your text if you want to add effect. If you got multiple lines, you can put some height in. You can add shadows to the text or take it off. And then you can see here that you can then do all these extra things with the text as well if you want to yeah, definitely something for another video. So this is simply, now the other thing we haven't got, we do need to have some music in here. So that was a music file. Who do we use? Audio.com, I think they're called. But any of these kind of music libraries you can get a license to, and I just drag that music on here. It's just slightly picking it up in there. So you can see I've got that set in here. I will make sure that my microphone is muted. Right, we're going to come to our next scene, and this is going to be our main camera. I tend to say front or something like that. So what's going to happen, you set that intro. It's automatically set that after 1 minute, it's going to go to the next scene, and that's us right here. Okay, so I think this is okay to slip this in as a 101 lesson. I don't think that was too scary to set that up. And how cool is that now that you've created an intro? If you wanted to do the same thing and said, I'll mute that for a second. Maybe you wanted to type in there, be right back. And you could set yourself a timer in there for 5 minutes or something. Or you want them to go out into, go away and do this work. We're just going to have a pause for a few minutes. So there's other ways you could use that. So we've got a front camera. We are going to do, what about a title? So that's what I showed you there. Rather than bringing in that overlay, if we wanted to have, like you would see on a YouTube video, really, maybe when you're watching it and they say, right, point number 1, and in it comes. So let's just create another one of those. Because we've already got most of it here, we want this camera to be in the background. We just want to blur it and bring that title in. Or in actual fact, what I'm going to do is clone down. So I hit the Option key, and I drag down from the text, and I'm going to call this title 1. Now I do need to turn the music off. It is already off. I don't want the music in this one. I don't want a timer. I don't actually want to have the blurred background, but I am going to keep this one. So it's just a text overlay. Title 1. Let's maybe go really bold on this one. And we can increase that font size there. So this is title 1. I want it to be center aligned. And we're actually going to let this fly in from the left. So I click it, and I can center it up with my little guides here. Yep. Okay. I could do other things to this if, if I wanted to have backgrounds to it, stronger shadows and things. But this will allow me, so when I come from front and I say, right, so the first thing we're going to do, let's have a look at this first lesson, and then I just come back to it. That feels really nice, doesn't it? Not quite sure why it got a zoom on there. Let me just go into my camera effects and knock off that zoom. It just slightly zoomed in on me. So can you see how we can work with these scenes like this, and rather than going, oh, hang on a minute, I now need to have the overlays tab open and go and bring that in, I can actually just work through these, and I find that really nice. That others will tell you differently. This is just my style, but with my kind of simple, logical mind, I like to go, I want it to be as simple as possible on a presentation, on live, and I'd rather do the work up front and create these scenes. And if I wanted to just have a second point that I bring in at a later stage, well, I just duplicate that and I call it title 2 and I put whatever that title is. All right. So they're pretty straightforward. So can you show where you find the button for live demo mode? Yeah. Okay. Good shout. So when you come up here, right, see on their options, the last one down says live demo mode, and it does actually show you there the shortcut. So Command Shift D, live demo mode. Now again, I'm using this Stream Deck, so it becomes, I've got a button allocated to it just to make it really easy for me to jump between that. Right, what are we doing next? So we've got an intro, your main camera. You might want, obviously you might want to brand this up as well. And if you want to do anything fancy with this, yeah, you could bring in a lower third. You could put some branding on screen. You've seen that we've put little bits on here, or on my main camera there, I've got this Ecamm 101 that's just brought down the side of there. We're not going to do that today. We're just really I'm trying to keep some of these things simple. And what I wanted to say to you actually is I haven't got yet. The next 2 weeks, I want to do more of these lives like this, and I'm really interested to hear from you. Last week was what is Ecamm? This is kind of a let's get you started and a longer masterclass. And then next week, maybe we look at Stream Decks or something like that. If you want to. So if you've got ideas, let me know in the chat, and that would be really useful to come back to and see what we can do. Right, now let's think. We might want to do a screen share. Now I don't have anything open to share my screen really. I guess I've got this, but let's create another scene that says, oh, I clicked that twice too quick, sorry. Let me go again there, just delete that one. So I'm going to call this one, let's pull this down. This is going to be screen share. And I do like to put proper titles on these. It makes it so much easier than just a default scene, copy of default, copy of default. It's a lot easier to come back to when you know what you've got on here. So a screen share. I'm at the minute doing a screen share. So notice that I've got this black background. I've got a bit of text at the side, and then I'm in effect doing a screen share. It's a camera, but stick with me. So what I would do on this screen share scene, I would first of all change the source. You don't have to. I could actually, well, let me show you it. This is how it's designed to be used, that right along that top. Remember at the start, I said you'd got a camera and then you'd got a screen share. Well, now it's done this. It just wants me to, and in fairness, it's not bad because you're going to get all these pop-ups coming up as well. It's first time in, your computer's being very safe and saying, are you sure you want to let Ecamm see this? Now I've turned off the automatic picture-in-picture that would appear down in this bottom corner here. It's down here. It would by default just pop this in. But actually we can do a much nicer job of a picture-in-picture if we want to. So first of all, this is at the minute you can see it saying show current application. I could set it to entire screen. I could set it to something from Ecamm, or as I've got that Finder window open, why don't I choose that? And you'll see now that it will let me just select this Finder window here. Yeah, that's the only thing that's up on the screen. by zooming to fit it, it'll squash it in there like that. And we can actually go in even more by either clicking the plus and minus here, or if like me, you're on a trackpad or on a mouse, you can scroll and zoom this thing in and out if you want. Now, if you wanted to bring, if you like the idea of seeing your face on here as well, you could choose down here in the overlays, a new camera overlay. And we can bring that in. That's interesting. That's obviously the last time I used it as a demo in this shape. You've got the same, you'll recognize, and I love that this is now the case with this latest version, this beta version at the minute, but all these menus are the same. We can do the same things with borders and outlines. There's a lot more advanced things you can do with that. I did a video a few weeks ago showing all these new updates for the beta. You can go and have a look at that one rather than me play with it here. But notice that I can bring myself in and I can change these borders around, and I can adjust. If I tend to use this custom shape, and then that allows me to really decide however I want this to sit on here. I can position it on the screen wherever I want. Yeah. So now I can now be sharing my screen, and there's me at the top. So this could be, you know, a Chrome window that you've got open, anything else. You just go into Ecamm and it says on this tab here, what do you want to show? And then anything that you've got open, it will allow you to see. Okay, so let's do screen share as that. Now I'm going to copy this down because the next one I want to do is slide share. Come on. Why is that not letting me copy it? There it goes. Didn't want to go. What am I saying? Presentation. And in this one, now I haven't got it open yet. Yes, I have. Keynote. When I open up Keynote, this is a very quick little demo presentation. How do I share a presentation? Now, this might be on a live like this. It might be going out to Zoom or somewhere else. You know, how do we do this? Well, you have an option, and PowerPoint, Keynote, Canva, other places you can go. There are lots of ways of doing presentations. I can download it as a PDF and do it that way. If you want to be able to walk through it like this and just be able to click on scenes, well, the way I would do it is you'll play up here. You either have this, by default, it'll say play in full screen, or you can choose play in window. And now when I hit play in Keynote, I've got two different windows. I've got this one here that is where I'm controlling it. So I can be clicking through here and going through my slides. I can have them open at the side. But notice that this is the window that is actually doing the presentation. So with that presentation window open, I'm now back in Ecamm. I'm trying to just slow it down a little bit here. I can now say show keynote, and I want demo presentation, and see what it's done. So in the background, and it doesn't matter that this is slightly in front of my Ecamm window, as I move around on here, you'll see that that is moving around. So it's all a bit tight in here. And I said at the start, you know, if you're on a small screen like this, there are options, either adding an extra monitor in or doing this. You can attach an iPad and run it that way. But I'm just trying to really show you here how you can do this and bring in a presentation like this. And yeah, if you want to, you can set this so that that goes full screen, and probably more likely I would be, you know, in a box or a circle over this side in this case, so that when I'm clicking through in this presentation, it kind of works quite nicely over there. Yeah. Except what have I done? Because that's gone off the screen there. I've zoomed that in too much. There we go. Okay, so what it's doing in effect is it's saying, you know, copy whatever's going on this screen here. And so it'll pick up any animations and things like that that are going on. Okay. So this is sort of how we would bring that in. And this does need to be on screen. I can't minimize this and expect it still to do to copy it. But you're seeing how quickly we're doing this. We've got an intro, we've got a front screen, we've brought a title in. We could do a screen share. I've lost Finder's gone. No, it hasn't. Oh, I tell you why. I was on the wrong one. So just note on here, I thought I was working on presentation. It's easy to do when you're not actually clicked at there to take you through. So I'm just going to change these over actually, because I cloned it and I was working on the wrong one. All right. And if I wanted to change the order, I can just move them around like this and they will change order. So we've got a screen share, we've got a presentation, we've got titles or bullet points, and we've got our main camera. I think that's really as much as I want to show you on here. I think that's covering the basics. We've been on over an hour already. One thing I do just want to show you, and this is a new thing that I'm slightly embarrassed to say that Paul and Val showed me recently on a call. I was saying, oh, what a shame that we still have to go live before we can actually edit the comments. And Paul went, no, you don't. It's in here. And so it totally slipped past me. But yeah, big thanks to Paul for this one. So notice down here, add placeholder comment overlay. So you saw that I brought a comment on screen earlier, and I can do exactly the same here. Let's just have a quick look. There we go. I didn't actually see what Tom's comment is. So the options are, yes, good shout, Tom. What I'm running on here, this is on the Ecamm beta that I'm demonstrating this on, and I definitely recommend downloading it. Ecamm.com/beta. And I'm doing that because very soon I'm pretty confident this will be in the main one. And so I want to be working on this so that it looks familiar to you. But yes, good shout. If you're not on beta, then you're going to look and it'll look a bit different on there. So thank you for pointing that out. Right, what did I say? Branding comments. So I now have a comment that I have on screen here. Now, this is the basic one. We can play with this. Now, notice what's going to happen actually. Do you remember we set in the preferences that this is going to disappear after 15 seconds? And I think you'll find that this one is about to shoot off to the side. No? All right. No, it's not. I do know what I'm doing, honestly. So I can edit the text up here. Let's change this around first of all. So if you want to, maybe and we'll go a bit over the top so that you can see what we're doing here. We're going to go for a nice pink. Oh, maybe a little bit too. Yeah, let's go like Barbie's all the thing at the minute, right? So let's go a bit Barbie themed on this. And can't quite believe I'm doing it, but there we go. So let's do, we're at the minute, this is a 27 font, so we can make the person's name bigger. So totally independent, the text that comes in down below and the color of the name at the top. So notice again that I did this. Let's just bring Tom's one up again. Notice that the name is in a different font and a color to what the wording is, but the question below or the comment. Now, I deliberately keep this quite simple. Don't go making the actual comment. There it goes. Don't go making the comment hard to read or doing it in a fancy font. Yeah, we want people ultimately just to be able to see this. Now, you can put, let me just save that. The easiest way to come at this, you can increase the size of it. You can adjust how it sits on there. What you'll find is if there's a lot of text, this thing will grow. If it's just a few words. So I tend to stick in this bottom left corner. But notice again, like on all the other things, we can adjust the background if we want to. We can take it out. If you don't want to have a background, you can do some clever little gradients and things. Let's go with something quite obvious that you can see this gradient happening. So you can see there that there's this gradient going on behind. I don't tend to use that, if I'm honest. You can have a motion one as well that will actually move around. Again, these are some of the cool features that came out recently. I did a video on that, so I'm going to let you go over there and have a look at that rather than me play with it. So the color, I'm just going to stick with this, but I tend to go semi-transparent there. So it just puts a background to it. But as you can see, you know, it's not overpowering. So I can set that down there, and I can actually add an animation to it that says fly in from left. And I think that's quite nice. So that's going to disappear. When a comment comes on, it will appear on scene, and then it will disappear after 15 seconds. Slide in, slide out. All right. Right. So I think that's our branding bit covered, or our scenes covered. Very conscious, you know, this is just us getting going. I want you to really have something foundationally to get you started. Let me just see a couple of things on comments coming in over here. Yep, brilliant. Love to see how we set up the Stream Deck for Ecamm. Yep, so I think, Michael, that would be, it's very likely we'll do that next week or the week after. So be sure to subscribe so you can get the notification, and you'll find out about that one. Good stuff. Yeah, Phil, that's really cool to hear. And it is, and it doesn't take a lot to do this and just to add to it. I would be careful. I think certainly with these new features, with all the motion things going around, don't go too over the top, certainly depending on your audience. You don't want people looking going, what on earth's going on here? So I think subtle branding can be really nice. If it's a very fun brand anyway, go for it. Okay, so what we're going to do now, so we've done building out some scenes. Now we're going to go live, actually. So back over here, what have we got? Cool. Nice one. Yes. The placeholder comments overlay. What, the one I'm doing here? You're meaning the actual, yeah, sorry. That is a really good feature, Ed. Like I say, I didn't even know that was there, but yeah, loving that. So we've played around with it. We've, we've created a few scenes here. We're ready to go live now. Let's just set something up. So I'm going to come down to here well, actually, we don't need to. If I come out of record only, remember, we're going to see in that bottom corner now to stream. Always keep record on. If you turn record off, you'll do a live stream and you'll get to the end and you're not going to have a file to come back to. So always leave that on. The only thing you're really doing on here is if you just want to record only and not stream, then you'll turn that off. But otherwise, the three stay on. Now, we haven't set up a destination yet. I've deliberately I went through and deleted everything out so that you could see me doing this. So we're going to choose a streaming platform. So we've got to log in first. Now, bear with me. I'm just going to do this. Well, I can't actually see where it's gone. The only reason I'm just doing this is it's wanting me to log in from login using web browser. Right, but because I'm not logged in on here, so I'm just logging into my Facebook first. And you know what it's doing, don't you? It's sending a code to my phone because it just wants me to. Oh, come on. It's texting me a login code. Sorry about this. I thought it would be easy for us to do. Right, login code. And actually, I think we're all right. You can come back and see what I'm doing on here. Login code, it said. I don't think this is giving the keys to the kingdom away. Save browser. So I've just logged in to Facebook over here. Sorry about this. Facebook's been a little bit slow. Don't see that I'm missing anything, but come on. Something went wrong. Of course it did. Right, I'm in. So hopefully that's brought in Facebook now as a destination. Please. Right. Open Ecamm Live. Yes. Right. That's what should have happened. So it comes in here. It gives you the option of a destination. I can either use my personal one here, or I could add another Facebook account. So do I want my profile, my business page, or a group? So I'm just going to select, for the sake of this, a group. And it's going to list up a whole ton of groups that I've got or I'm part of. So if I were to go into this test group that is only me, and what I would do is I'd put a title in here. And I can either schedule this, so I can choose whatever date I want and a time over here. I can add an image in here as a thumbnail. Now I've actually got on the desktop, where is it? Example thumbnail. So if I wanted to put this in advance and schedule it into the group, which is what I do here on YouTube as well, then I can put this in, I can put my description in, and I can schedule it. And I'm actually just going to go live now unscheduled. So go live now. And what I'll do, actually I can log in from over here, can't I? Where have I got a Chrome window open? If I new Chrome window, and if I pull this down, I can go onto Facebook. I can log into this group. So this is going live. You can see now that we've been 35 seconds and no one's on there, thankfully. Hopefully I'm in the right place. So I want test group AS, and I can see, so I'm just seeing in the same way that you're seeing the live going on here. When I'm in Facebook, I'm seeing this live appear. I'm not actually sure what I've got set up on here for screen share. It's either going to be, bear with a second, I haven't got that one ready. Test group. So you can see there, this is what's coming through on my live. This is what your customers will see at the other end of it. So if I were to put a comment in here, oh, hi there. Now let's come back over to Rachel's laptop and let's see what happens over here. Still doing that. I'm using the mouse and I'm not even attached to it. If I bring the comments window open on this now, so notice that I've got this comment that's appeared in front of me, which is what I just posted in over there. But how cool is that? That's how this goes. And we've already customized what we want this to look like. So when I click on here, there we go. Our branded little comment comes on screen. If I want to make that bigger, I can do, and I can sort of shorten it and make the whole thing bigger like that if I want. And that should disappear in 15 seconds. But here we are, we're going live into the group. I can see that should be telling me that I've got one person on. It's telling me that nobody's on at the minute. Interesting. Yeah, all right. Then when I get to the end of my live, I hit end, finish, and it always kind of prompts me like, are you sure? And I can say end broadcast, and that's our live over. And now it will say show file, and we've got our recorded file there as well. All right, so that's going live. And we can go live like that to any of those destinations. We can set them up. We can go to multiple destinations at once. I just wanted you to just quickly see how that comes together. Now, let me just see actually anything else. So bring in the comments. Yeah. So just really with, if you don't need, if I'm doing this live here and I don't need to be able to have, these bits open in the background, well, close them down. It makes the thing a whole. If I'm not actually doing the presentation, not only get it off the screen, but quit it, because these are all extra things that are running. And so if I can just run here, I don't need to have anything open on here. And I, the amount of times I'm doing calls with people and I see they've got everything open, including things like Spotify and that are actually taking a lot of processing. Or even if you have got Chrome open and you've got like 50 tabs open at the top, all of those are trying to work in the background, and it's just taken away, and it will hinder the performance of what you're doing here. So I'm a big believer. I know I'm tidy, but if you can shut those things off, close them down, if you don't need to have them open, it will help your stream keep it more stable and allow a smaller machine to do a better job. You don't have to go for some of you, the reason it's straining and the fans are kicking in and things is just because you've got so much stuff open. So there's just some little tips really there for helping you do that. Then we've gone live, got your recording afterwards. What I would do as well, like this in YouTube, I'm going to go back through this and put some chapters in this, or maybe the description that I was saying in YouTube, I was saying, come and join me for the live. Well, now it's done a live and it's really for that replay audience. I'm going to change that description around that it is more relevant for people that are coming and seeing it afterwards. All right. And the same thing really here in Facebook. So it's good practice just to go back through. If you have had a lot of comments on, it could, do a lot of good for you to Facebook and YouTube will reward you for a lot of comments and interaction. So if you can go back through and comment on people's comments, it goes in your favor. And it's nice for people as well, obviously. Let's not forget that. If I've commented and then you come back after and go, that was a great point. Sorry, I missed it on the live, but yeah, here's an answer or here's a link that'll solve that. People will love that. And more likely to show up again live next time. So we've done that bit. Now we're going to present to Zoom. Now I haven't got Zoom set up on here, and I know that it's going to kick me off of my main computer when I set it up on here. So what do we need to know about going live into Zoom? Yeah, Phil, absolutely. Tom's just said, sorry, I missed that. Could you show one more time how to time the entry and exit of the text? Yeah, absolutely. Right, let me come back up to here, and I'm going to actually do a live demo mode on my main computer rather than using the laptop. It feels a bit easier. It's going to look better. So if I come into my preferences down here, and it's on this first one, general, right at the bottom says automatically hide comment overlays after 15 seconds. So I could change that to 5 seconds or whatever I want. And that will apply to every overlay or every comment that comes in afterwards. So let's use Tom's to do that. And 15 seconds and it will disappear. Are we good? Have I missed anything? Yeah, she absolutely rocks, doesn't she? All right, so there it goes, 15 seconds and we're out. Now, Zoom then. So when we're looking at doing Zoom, if you think of your Zoom call normally, and it's just your camera that's going out, it's really nice actually to just, like I've got a bit of subtle branding in here, or actually it can be a right pain on Zoom when all of a sudden you want to be able to share your screen, or you suddenly want to play a video clip or something like that, and you're going, hang on a minute, share screen, and let's find it. Is it that one? Is that looking all right? It's so much quicker and slicker if we can actually do it down here, and just bring in what have I got? I must have a video in there. Don't worry, I can't see anything there. You could just grab a video, and play it, and it's just slicker. It can look so much nicer. So how do we go about doing that and taking this into Zoom? Well, we open up Zoom. And remember, we turned on that the Ecamm virtual camera and virtual mic. So I'm going to select a new meeting. I'm going to minimize this. I want to bring my Zoom windows just disappeared up to there. Let me just, give me a second. It's on my other monitor. I'll pull it down to here. So here we go. This is a Zoom window that's coming through now. Just a little bit. You're seeing that in live. I don't know why that's not coming up on my program. Live demo. You are seeing my whole screen there, aren't you? It's just that my program window is not showing it, and that's throwing me out. How about just text or a branded name versus comments? So, sorry, Tom, you're just saying there, how do you bring the text in? Yep. Very quickly then, before we jump onto this one. So what had we got? What is that? Okay, that was a screenshot I did from earlier. I don't know what I'm bringing on here. These are just images that I've been using with customers, but let's use this one just as a scene here. So remember, this is in beta. You need to be able to be in the beta version until this is updated, but it's in this transition down here. So it says transition, fly in from left. And so when I close it, so there isn't a time, there's no timing on this one. It's not going to stay on for a time and then go off. It's just a case of coming on until I press it and it disappears again. So the timing isn't available for that one, I'm afraid, Tom. We could do it with a Stream Deck. If I do Stream Deck next week or the following week and you're on, throw this question in. There are some clever ways of doing multifunction where we can put a delay in there as well. So we could have a play with that one. So we are, Val or someone, just let me know. You are seeing the whole thing here in live demo mode, aren't you? Not just me, because it looks like up in the preview window. That's all I'm seeing. Right, so we're going out to Zoom. So typically on Zoom, let's just have a look down here. This is going to choose my Cam Link or my FaceTime HD camera, but notice down here now, I've got, great, you are seeing live demo, fantastic. So you're seeing down here that I've got Ecamm Live Virtual Cam, and we've got that because we turned it on. Now I'm not sure what, let's take that one off. If you remember, we turned it on over here. That mouse doesn't do this one. When we were in the settings, we turned on the virtual camera and the virtual mic. And so look, it tells me that the virtual mic is on and the virtual camera is on. So as long as you've got them little red boxes there, you know that you're doing it and it's streaming out. So that's all good. And you can see that I've got them on up here as well. So now we go into here, Ecamm Live Virtual Cam, and notice what happens in this Zoom window. This at the minute has got no branding. Ecamm Live Virtual Cam, because we're in live demo mode, it's tunneling, but you get the idea. It will bring this feed in. I can do the same thing with my audio. I can choose Ecamm Live Virtual Mic over here, which is already selected. So if I'm playing any sound effects, like if I wanted to have that intro music and things, it'll all come through. Everything that I can see and hear here in Ecamm is now going to go into Zoom. So that's really powerful and quite a game changer. I know we kind of hesitate to say that, but it is. It is fantastic that we can do this. And now I got to show you on here because I've seen it and thought about it for a while, that there is definitely some pink casting that goes on. So and I've mentioned this, I've kind of highlighted this to Glenn, that definitely, like when my camera, when I'm in Zoom, I'm a look warmer. When I come through Ecamm into Zoom, it starts to get pinker. And you can actually see here, as this is tunneling, that every time it's getting a little bit pinker. That magenta's being pulled in. So there must be a really slight filter that's somehow applied on here. Yeah, anyway, something I noticed. I look at it and go, oh, I thought I looked browner than that, but my tan's worn off. I look a bit pink on here. Just means I've got to go on holiday again. So here we are. We're now going into Zoom, and we're doing this in here. It's just about selecting right up front, not your normal camera, but you're going to select Ecamm Virtual Cam and Ecamm Virtual Mic. Whoops, wowzers. Sorry, that's because I went full screen in there, but you can see that color happening. Right, so that's us going into Zoom, yeah? If I wanted to do a presentation or anything else, you've seen us doing it over here very briefly. You've seen me doing it here. So everything that I'm doing, changing, if I wanted to bring this outline in and things, look, it all is coming straight here into Zoom. And you're just going to blow away that audience that they won't have seen this happening before. So you're not doing a screen share when you get into Zoom. You're going to just stay on your camera. And when you get a few people in there, you select Spotlight. If you pin it in Zoom, it's only affecting you. So anybody can pin somebody's screen to the front. If you select Spotlight, then it forces it and you'll get just the, people's faces at the top, and then it keeps you full screen. That's the way to do it. I do have a video that explains how to get a better quality out of Zoom. If you're doing, if you're wanting to go out to Zoom and you've got graphics and things, it's very likely to come out looking pixelated until you do this upgrade. And it's just a case of contacting Zoom. I've got a video called something like how to get the best quality out of a Zoom presentation or something like that. If anyone's able to find that and ping a link in, it just shows you in there exactly what you need. You need to create a support ticket, and you need to be able to send that out to them, and they will just update you and put you up to 720p. If you want to go to 1080p, then you need to be on an enterprise plan. And I did spot, she was in here earlier in the live. I think she was. Yeah. Marquesa she has an enterprise plan of Zoom, and so you can't do it yourself. You need to go through someone who's got one of these accounts, one of these plans. I know Laria has one as well. Marquesa's got one that has unlimited cloud recording and 1080p. And if I'm right, I think on Laria's and others, there's a limit on the amount of cloud recording and things that you have. So I'm really happy with Marquesa's. I do have a link. Again, I'll pop it in the description when I come off of here if people are interested, but we're slightly off topic than what I was expecting to do, talking about Ecamm 101. So there we go. That's our presentations. How have you found that? Have we hopefully not covered? You are here, Marquesa. Cool. Thank you, Miriam. So let's just have a quick look. We've got some questions on here. If you want to ask questions, I'm very happy to stay, and let's answer away at some of your questions. If you've got ideas for what you'd like me to do next week, as I say, last week was what is Ecamm. This is hopefully a very detailed overview. I'll break it down into chapters when I get off the live, and then where do you want to go from this? If you think it would be a good topic to look more detailed at what we can do with Zoom, presentations, Stream Deck. I know a few people have said about Stream Deck, and I'm particularly tidy when it comes to my Stream Deck. So if you want to know some tips and tricks on how we can do this, and even looking at a Stream Deck pedal, yeah, that might be a good one to come to. Excellent, Michael. Thank you, Valerie. My students in my course struggle to see the text when I go virtual camera. How do I ensure the text isn't too small so that the other viewers... So the text being small or pixelated, that normally what happens is the resolution isn't high enough when you're coming through here. That's why I reached out to Marquesa and I've been able to get 1080p when we go out in Zoom. So we're ensure that the text isn't too small. So I think if you're spotlighting, then you're going to be the size of this. If it's a case of you making sure that actually on your end in Ecamm, you've got the text nice and big so that when it comes into Zoom, it'll be big in there too. Michael's saying as well about the how I plug my cam link in. I've got both of them are going into separate docks at the minute. I've got my laptop is here. I use a CalDigit 3 Plus, is it called? And I've got my main camera is plugged into that. And I have USB ports on this Dell ultra sharp monitor that I use. And so I've literally, so the laptop is plugged also into a Ecamm link, and that's coming in on there. So it tends to be, yeah, fairly forgiving as to where I plug it in. Does that help? Stream Deck. Thanks very much, Marquesa, popping a link in. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I have an affiliate link, but it's just there for us recommending it. And we were talking earlier. I did a quick video before this. There were comments on my group that I was just replying to. People were asking about, I want to be able to get a file from, I'm doing a Zoom meeting and I want to be able to choose between, the default view, but I want the audio from both and things like this. The beauty of cloud recording is you can choose, and you can watch that video. I literally did it about 3 hours ago and just walked you through how to select those different things, by cloud recording, but you're going to have a limit on your storage. But an enterprise plan, which I believe is about £360, is that dollars? Is that right, Marquesa, for the year? To me, is absolutely worth it to give me 1080p to start with when I'm doing my presentations. And that's, I really want to impress people when I'm on a Zoom call. And when I'm bringing stuff like this on screen, I want to know that it's as sharp as it can be. That's as good as we can get. And to just know that I can, all my support calls and everything, I put them up in the cloud, and there are different options of the views that I or other people can access. So I'm a big fan of that. I just have the Pro plan at the moment on Zoom, eligible for 720. Are you eligible? Yes, you absolutely are. So again, I'll drop it into the description, Michael, afterwards, if you don't mind. Come back in a few minutes because I can't find it at the minute. There's a video that I want to point you to that I made that is, it's how to sort of send a support ticket in. I give you the link to send it, the title, the comment to put in there. And we've had hundreds of people that have clicked on that and have said, actually, Zoom came back really quick and upgraded them to 720p at no extra cost. But you do need to be on a paid plan. Yeah. So Tom says, how do I set a timer to remove your lower third branded name without going to another scene? We'll need to do that on a Stream Deck. Tom, have you got a Stream Deck? I think we definitely are going to do this next week. We'll have a look at the Stream Deck. That'll be really good to see. I can have a quick look actually here. If you bear with me just a second. This is just going to probably jump in on my video here. Because we're asking for it. How to find the... Sorry, I'm trying to find my videos over here. Where's the one about increasing the quality? Because there's a few of you asking. I don't like to leave you needing to go away. 2 seconds and I'll have it. Just got to remember what I called it. How to get the highest quality out of a Zoom video. Let me open it over here. Copy the link and I can drop it into the chat here. All right, so that link there is going to give you access to that. Sorry, that's to the video that I've made showing you how to get that 720p. And I can put up here, let me just quickly find it, Marques's enterprise plan. Should be that link. Zoom like a boss. There she is. And as it says, that is my affiliate link. But hey, you know that's how we do these things. It's we're all doing affiliate links. Hope that's been good. Anything else before we go? Or feel free, if you, I could say, I think a lot will be watching this in the replay. Please let me know in the comments. I will do my best to get back any questions that you've got. And we'll answer them in another video. I've started today just recording some quick little videos with answers as well. So yeah, What's this? Miriam, have I missed that? I need to start Ecamm for Lives. Any special offers? Not at the minute. I'll tell you what there will be is if you start off on a trial on here, what I wanted to say is we're actually getting ourselves ready. The 18th of September, we run an Ecamm Live Academy, and it's a 2-week live event. We have 9 hours of video content. So all what you've seen here, you know, we've done it in under 2 hours. You've got 9 hours of content, really going into detail on all of the features and all what's going on here. You have access to this online library. We drip it out across the 5 days of the academy, and you get to come on lives with me every day. We answer, you know, all your questions. Paul and Val, so many others will come through this. Paul and Val are two fantastic moderators that work along with us inside that academy. That is available, Ecamm Live Academy. So you could go to adriansalisbury.com, Ecamm Live Academy. I'm just trying to grab that link. What we do now is, rather than making you wait until that day to get access to the training, you can actually get into that, start on the training now. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, because Miriam, you were asking there about offers. What we do inside, you can get started on Ecamm. What we do inside the academy is give you a 25% discount off of a pro license if you want to upgrade then. We can't do it until we actually start on the 18th, 19th of September. But if you want to get started on a trial and, you know, just pay for a month or two now, then you can apply that to it when it comes up. So that'll be a really good deal for you. Yep, Val's so excited. So are we, for sure. Looking forward to that one. It's an intense couple of weeks, isn't it, Val? But we absolutely love it. In fact, Val's still going with the cohort from last time around. We did this back in March, and those guys are still in there, and Val and Paul are still doing lives, supporting people, getting us ready for starting all over again in September. But yeah, we love Ecamm. It's an incredible tool, and hopefully this just inspires you, lets you see what is capable of doing, whether that's for a live stream or for going out to Zoom or creating course videos. You know, it's a phenomenal tool. If you're on a Mac, you really should be using this, and we want to help you get the absolute best out of it. So thanks so much. Rach popped in there as well. We're all on this. There's 3 links just appeared for Ecamm Live Academy, so you can't miss those. Do sign up, access the training now, get into some of this, and we'll see you in 18th of September. But be sure to subscribe, because we're going live next week. It sounds like we're going to be looking at Stream Decks. Well, if you subscribe, then you'll get a notification when we're ready to go for that. But thank you so much for being here. I know it's been a long one, and it's lovely that you've hung out with us this long. We'll see you in the next video. All the best, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.